Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah HaKadash. Also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS that rule well and teach well for giving us 100% truth. Now, this topic that I want to get into is the judgment of these other nations. Okay, because that's the only thing they have coming for them is the judgment, them going into slavery. After Esau kingdom get taken down, these other nations are going to go into captivity, pursuant to Revelations 13 and 9, you know, but we're going to get into that. So let's get Jeremiah 30. All right, this is Jeremiah 30 and 9. No, I mean 16 Slakia. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Okay? So, all these other nations, that had a part of trying to took down Israel, because all these nations, they devoured us. Starting with the top candidate, Esau Edom. Okay? Because they did us the worst way. But nevertheless, who are these adversaries that Jeremiah 30:16 is talking about? Okay? And this goes for y'all, whosoever, are trying to include these heathen nations a part of the promises that were given to our forefathers, okay? Because then you got to answer this. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries. Who's our adversaries? Let's get Psalms 83. So here you get a list of our adversaries, right? Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The hidden ones are the Israelites, okay? So all these other nations took crafty counsels against the Israelites, trying to, take us out, keep us from being a nation, take us out of remembrance, strip us from everything, right? Verse 4, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. You see? So how can y'all include these other nations where they never gave a shit about us? That the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. So these, other nations, come together and try to find ways to take us out as a people, as a nation, where they have consulted together with one consent. Okay, little secret society meetings. They are confederate against thee. Okay, so these are the list of our enemies right here. The tabernacles of Edom, which is Esau, which is the so-called white T-man, today. And the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs of Moab, so-called Chinese, the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon, the so-called Japanese, and Amalek, which is the chief tribe of Edom, the Philistines, the so-called Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre, the Philistines, the Hamites. Ashur also joined with them. They had Hoplin, the children of Lot. Okay? So these are our adversaries. So all these nations outside of Israel are going into captivity. Okay? So, they devoured us, man. With the Edomites being the top ones. Okay? Let's go to Lamentations 2:15. All that, this Lamentations 2 and 15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hissed and wagged their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, Is this the city that men call perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thy enemies had opened their mouth against thee. They hissed and gnashed their teeth. They say, We have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for, and we have found and we have seen it. Okay, so when we were going down, you know, these nations were happy, you know, because and they know, starting with the top leads, they knew that we are the chosen people. Okay? They knew that we had the true power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? Because Deuteronomy 7 and 6, let's get that real quick and come back. That's why they were, jealous, man. For thou art an holy people, this is Deuteronomy 7 and 6, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Okay? Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. Okay? So these other nations, man, they mad. And they're nothing to the Yahweh Bashem Shai. Let's get that in Second Esdras 6, and we're gonna start at 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people all also whom thou hast chosen, okay, which is the Israelites. All this I have spoken before thee, O Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So this world was made for our sakes, okay? As for the other people, meaning the other nations, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, okay, but be like unto spittle, means spit, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. You see? So Yahweh Bashem Shai don't care about these other nations. He just said they like unto spittle, like spit. Okay, that they are nothing. Verse 57. And now, O Yahweh Bashem Shai, behold, these heathen, the other nations, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. Okay? So you see, these other nations devoured us. All these nations had part of being lord of us, being master of us, and to devour us. Okay? But we thy people, who the people, the Israelites, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover are given into their hands. Okay, so this is going back to the curses. You see? These are going back to Deuteronomy 28:15. We'll get that in a minute. So it was our part of our punishment to be given to these other nations for them to rule over us. Because we're going off. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Okay? So he's saying if the world was made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with this world? Okay? Because this world is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? That's why if you get we scroll up, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of the follow. Because right now, currently, we are in Esau kingdom, right? The so-called white T-man. Because if you get let's get Job 9:24. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay, so the earth right now is given into the hand of the wicked. who's the wicked? You go Malachi 1 and 4. The wicked is Esau, Edom. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? He covered the faces of the judges. He's claiming let's go back to iconoclasm, whitewashing of the images. He's saying that the so-called Heavenly Father is a so-called white T-man along with the angels and the only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Okay, that is the wicked. Okay, that's who currently is in rulership right now is Esau. Okay, so these other nations are nothing to Yahweh Shai. So how can y'all keep on trying to add these other nations into the promises? Okay, or the in the New Testament, y'all saying that the Gentiles are the other nations, when the Heavenly Father says these other nations are nothing. Okay, so let's go back to Lamentations 2:15. Okay, so 17. Let's go back to 17. And Yahweh had done that which he had devised. He had fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He have thrown down and have not pitied, and he have caused thy enemy to rejoice over thee. He has set up the horn of thy adversaries. Okay, so the Heavenly Father set up these our adversaries against us because we're going off. Okay, so that's how they ended up over us. That's how they ended up ruling over us. Okay, because that was a part of the punishment. You see, and this is going back to Deuteronomy 28 and 15, consequences of disobedience. Okay, Deuteronomy 28 and 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So these our enemies, it was a part of the curses. Them ruling over us was a part of the curses. Okay, because we were going off, to these following the ways of these heathens, and that caused us to, you know, go off. Okay, let's see. Right here, Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed you. So that's why these curses was against us, and we was, we serving our enemies. Okay, so we do have enemies pursuant to Psalms 83. We went over that. So let's get back into the judgment these heathens is going to receive. Let's get Revelations 13 and 9. Revelations 13:9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So all these nations are going into slavery. Okay, we pretty much been through numerous of captivities through these nations, and now it's their turn to go into captivity. They're going to go into slavery. They're going to be serving us. Okay, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Who are the saints? Let's get Psalms 148. Psalms 140 and 13. Let them praise the name of Yahweh, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalt the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints. Okay. even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh. Okay, so Israel, we are the saints, the Israelites. Going to you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, Puerto Rican, Native American, Indians, and Hispanics are the true biblical Israelites the Bible speaks of. Okay, so y'all other nations, y'all going into slavery. Y'all gonna go to slavery for 1,000 years. Okay, so and it's payback. It's payback for what y'all did to the nation of Israel. Let's get Second Thessalonians. Start. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulations to them that trouble you. Okay, so who troubled the nation of Israel? We gave a list of all the enemies, all our adversaries gave us issues. Tried to take us out. You know, so seeing it's a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulations to that trouble. So it's a righteous thing, to the Most High. Okay, let's get Isaiah 34. This is Isaiah 34:1. Come near, ye nations, to hear. Okay, ye people, let the earth hear, and all that there is in the world, and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations. Okay, his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter. Okay, and it's talking about the other nations. So I'm trying to figure out how can y'all include these other nations in the promises. Because then now y'all gotta answer what does the Most High mean for the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, which is righteous anger. Okay, it's because what they did to the nation of Israel. Okay, but let's jump down to verse 8. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. Okay, so this controversy on what they did to the Israelites. Okay, they pretty much lied and said that they were the people, that they were the true people of the book. Just everything that they did to the children of Israel. Okay, so let's get to Psalms. This is Psalms 149:5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. The saints as Israelites reprove that. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, which is literal, to execute vengeance upon the heathen. Okay, the heathen, these other nations, our enemies, and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. So y'all starting with y'all top rulers, starting with y'all the top elite, starting with the banking families, y'all get first dibs of going into slavery. Okay, so when y'all go over there and hide in your bunkers, we're gonna come get y'all. Okay, cause y'all gonna go down to execute upon them the judgment written. Dishonor have all his saints, praise ye Yahweh. Okay, so it doesn't matter, you know, if because you got people say, well, it was my forefathers that did that, but y'all don't understand that, reincarnation, because you was your forefathers coming back. Okay, let's get uh let's get Proverbs 11. It's not the one I was looking for. I think it's Isaiah. Okay, here we go right here. This is Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities. Okay? So they'll say, oh, well, that my forefathers did that, but check this out. You were your forefathers coming back. Okay? It's a such thing as a reincarnation. All right? So there's no escaping this. Let's go with Revelations. We're gonna wrap this up. So it's like 26. This is Revelations 2 and 26. And he that overcome and keeping my works to the end, to him will I give power over the nations, these other heathen nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. Okay? As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Okay? So we're going to be ruling these nations with a rod of iron. Slavery. Okay? So how can these other nations get salvation? This is not salvation because they're going into slavery. So the ones that's saying that, y'all gonna have to answer for that because that doesn't make sense. Okay? There's no escaping this judgment that's coming for them and for y'all 2/3. You know, and I pray that Yahweh Shem Shah not a part of that number. Well, let's get Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51 and 22. Thus says Yahweh, thus says thy Lord, the Lord, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury, that shall no more drink again. Because at one point we had to drink of that cup, you know, because we were going off. So we got punished in these curses, you know. Verse 23, but I will put it to the hand of them that afflict thee. You know, talking about the other nations, which has said to thy soul, bow down, that they may go over. Thou hast laid thy body as the ground and as the street to them that went over. So these other nations are going to have to drink of this cup. You know, there's no escaping it because we had to drink of it, but now it's their turn. Okay. So these other nations, they have nothing, they have no salvation, man, because who gonna play this part? If y'all trying to add these other heathens to the nation, then who's going into captivity? That doesn't make sense. Because when Yahweh Bashem Shai punish, he punished as a nation as a whole. Okay, so you know, just like we got punished as a nation, they gonna get punished like that. Okay, let's get Nahum real good. That's probably gonna be the last precept. Nahum 1 and 2. The Most High is jealous, and Yahweh Bashem Shai revenges. The Lord revenges and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries. Who's the adversaries? Psalms 83. And he reserved wrath for his enemies. Okay, I don't see no salvation for these other nations. Okay, somebody has to fit this bill. Okay, they um there's no escaping this Because then who fits this bill? Okay. So I said this title is, the only thing that's coming to these other nations is judgment, is slavery. Okay. So I hope this video was edifying, and shalom.